rain that we really needed. And Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to serve and work in such a great city. We thank you for those that are being honored tonight. We thank you for those employees who have really dedicated their lives to serving and working in Santa Ana. We thank you for those young ladies who are representing us so well at those cheer championships. We thank you for the example that they are to their classmates. And so we thank you for this evening. We pray you'll bless our meeting. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. We are going to go ahead, Madam Clerk, I'm going to go ahead and skip our service awards. Our mayor is on his way now, and he'd like to be able to present those awards. So we're going to hold off on that, and we're going to go to item number. Actually, I'm going to skip down to item number 4 and start with Councilmember Benavides, followed by Councilmember Martinez, and then we'll go right back up. So if I could have Councilmember Benavides come on up to give a recognition.
Do we have from TKO Boxing Alexis Rocha and April Vega in the room? If you can go ahead and approach us.
Are they here? They are?
They are
Okay,
here.
great.
Okay, perfect. You can go ahead and come on up.
Oh, they're here. Okay.
Coach, is there anybody else?
Alexis.
I don't know if you have any of your coaches. Yeah, go ahead and come on up and join us right up here. Mary, why don't you come and stand with your young people here? I think it's the city of Santa Ana is one of the youngest cities in the nation. Our median age is right around 27 years of age, and that makes us, with our population and percentage. And some might see having so many young people as something that might be a challenge, being able to have a program and to take care of our young people. The way I see it is it's our greatest asset. We are a city of promise. When you see the number of young people and the caliber of the young people that we have here in this great city, when you think about the size of our city in proportion to the county, that the next generation of leaders, not only of Santa Ana, of Orange County, but of the region, are coming right here out of this great city. And I have 2 of them here standing to my right. TKO Boxing Club is actually right down the street from my house in Ward 4 at the Jerome Recreation Center. And it's just exciting when I see out my window sometimes in late afternoons, young people going to and from the boxing gym there, or the recreation center, and these young people are so dedicated to exercise, to discipline, to learning technique. But I know that there's a lot that has to do as well with pushing them academically, and being role models in their community as well. Here to my right, I have Alexis Rocha and April Vega. I'm going to read a little bit about them. What we're recognizing them here for today is their victory in the World Ringside Boxing Tournament. Alexis and April are both 17-year-old boxers and Santa Ana residents. Alexis attends Sigerstrom High School, and April is homeschooled. And one of the things in particular, I mentioned some of the young people walking along Montevista, right down the street from my house. But what I'm most impressed with is when I see the young ladies. You know, the guys, it's awesome, it's cool to see them. But those girls are girls you don't want to mess with. But it's just awesome. It's just cool to see them walking down with their hands wrapped. It's just like, that's somebody who I want walking me out at night, to my car. Both these boxers are trained by Coach Hector Lopez. One of the other things to mention about TKO is that everyone there is volunteer. They do amazing work. They've taken young people to the Olympic pre-trials in the past, and I'm sure that will be going back, being represented. But every coach, every staff member, every leader there is volunteer and has been for since its inception. And one of those great leaders is Mary Lada, who's standing right up here. So thank you, Mary, for your dedication, your commitment to our young people. Since 2013, Alexis has traveled to Italy, Russia, and the Ukraine for competitions. World travel here out of Santana, amazing, it's awesome. He will also be competing in several Olympic trials in an attempt to qualify for the 2016 Olympics in Brazil. Recently, Alexis and April won championship belts at the World Ringside Tournament in their weight divisions in Independence, Missouri. Over 1,500 national and international boxers competed in this tournament. Next month, Alexis and April will be competing in the USA Boxing Youth National Championships in Reno, Nevada. Let's give them a round of applause before we have them. Let me go ahead and have Mary go ahead and maybe come up and share a little bit. I've given them both an opportunity. I don't know if you're going to be, are you going to be collecting gift cards and all this go around? Yeah? No? Okay. So Mary, if you can just share a little bit. And a number of months ago, there was again, it's a nonprofit organization. There was an event that was held, fundraising event. I know every December as well. There are people in the community have the opportunity to give, to support, to gifts for kids and families there in the community. So I asked Mary about making mention of that. She said she didn't want to necessarily make mention of that, but if anybody is interested in supporting our young people and making gifts available to them, their families, you can, through our staff, through city manager's office, we can make sure to put you in touch with TKO Boxing. But Mary, if you could share a little bit about TKO and about these amazing young people here, please.
Well, this is a surprise. I certainly didn't plan on speaking. But yeah, as David mentioned, or maybe he didn't, we just completed 20 years as a boxing program. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. As he mentioned, we're all volunteers. Program is 20 years old. I've been there 19 years as a volunteer. Coach Hector has been there 18 years as a volunteer. We can't tear him away from the gym, which is why he's not here today. He's busy at the gym training kids that are getting ready to go to competitions. But these two young people right here are TKO stars. They work very, very hard. I would say an hour and a half ago, they were drenched, sweating from head to toe, training. I had to pry them away from that to go shower and change and look decent to come here today. So they're all cleaned up, especially for you guys. So, anyway, we welcome the community, teenage kids. We're a program for kids from 8 to 18, and we are there Monday through Friday. We're a gang prevention program. We do our best to create champions not only in the ring but outside of the ring. We have an annual scholarship that we award. We're very proud of having named that after Deputy Chief Bruce Carlson, who passed away. He was on the Santa Ana PD, and I believe he passed away about 8 years ago. So we have a scholarship in his memory, so we're very proud of that. So. But anyway, if you have any other questions or if you'd like to stop by any afternoon, we're at Jerome Center, 726 South Center, and we're there for you to come in and check out the kids and how hard they work. And we also have a Biggest Loser contest every year. Alexis, when he was 12 years old, weighed 202 pounds, and in 6 months, he lost 55 pounds. The Orange County Register... I think he got on the scale and it scared him. 202 pounds at the age of 12 scared him. So Orange County Register did an article on him for losing the 55 pounds in 6 months. So I think that's a record. But every year we do have kids that have lost 40, 50 pounds in a year's time. So we do have that. We're cognizant of the obesity problem in our youth today. So we really work hard on keeping our kids healthy. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. And thank you, Mary. Thank you both for showering before coming over. Those belts do look awesome, though, there, and very proud of you. And want to present you here with the certificate of recognition. I give them the opportunity to speak. They're shy here before the mic, but in the ring, definitely not shy, and those belts definitely demonstrate that. So on behalf of the City Council here of the City of Santa Ana, I would like to award Alexis Rocha and April Vega the certificate of recognition, congratulating you for your accomplishments and victory in the World Ringside Boxing Tournament. Congratulations.
This is really important. For those of you that didn't know, or that don't know this, but many years ago, one of the very first coaches at TKO was Councilman Dina Hero right there. He was one of the first TKO coaches way back when.
If we could have Councilwoman Michelle Martinez.
If I could please have Matt Ferreira and Stephen Donovan please join me. So I haven't had the pleasure to meet you. Are you Matt or Stephen?
Matt's with the veterans right now. We had a week at the Anaheim House of Veterans.
Okay, no problem.
Nice to meet you,
Pleasure to
Stephen.
meet you, Stephen. So I have the great pleasure to really provide this certificate of recognition, and how, why I'm presenting this certificate of recognition to Stephen and Matt. It's for really establishing the Smiles for Soldiers, which is a nonprofit organization. But how I was able to hear about the program was through Brian Jones, who's a great friend, and he's with Alta Planning, and we were meeting on some active transportation stuff, for the region, and he made mention to me about this program, and I'm very passionate about veterans, and today I was just speaking earlier on how I really got involved in wanting to make sure that we have good policies and wanting to help veterans. And so when I heard about this, I was really excited, and how others should really know of the great work that many people are really doing out there in the community for veterans. And I want to mention someone's name. He's today's his last day as a council member in the city of Brea, Ron Garcia, who's a veteran, and who really instilled in me, in my 8 years of office, of the importance of really the contributions that our veterans have made forever, and how there are times where we don't recognize a lot of the efforts that they do. And so it's with great pleasure and honor, really, one, to be here today to really acknowledge the contributions of what folks are doing. And I was really proud as I was reading the information here before providing the certificate of recognition, was the dentist who's been helping you guys out. And all of us know who Dr. Georgioff is. This is someone, and if you're hearing, and I think he's still living in Santa Ana, I'm not sure if he's moved or not, but because I think Senator Correa bought one of his homes, so I'm not sure if he's still living in the city or not. Mayor Polito, is Dr. Georgioff still living in the city? Do you know?
I know. I was at his house yesterday.
Okay, so he's still living in the city. If you don't know who Dr. Georgioff is, and he's been here many times before, the heart that he has, and the heart that his family, his son, and the great work that they've been doing here in this community, and now contributing to our veterans for dental care, is quite amazing. And so I just wanted to say, Dr. Georgioff, if you are hearing, thank you again for always giving back to the Santa Ana community. So with that being said, I just want to explain a little bit about what Smiles are for Soldiers, and then if you can, Stephen, I want you to go into more detail, because it is very special, and why you guys started this program. So I'll just start with a couple points. Smiles for Soldiers is a nonprofit organization that provides a comprehensive dental care to low-income homeless veterans by connecting and sponsoring them with local dental clinics, and one of them is Dr. Georgioff. Their mission is to ensure that all veterans who need dental care have access to it. So I'm going to go ahead and how you and Matt really established this organization, if you guys can share. And let's give him a round of applause, because he is a combat veteran from Afghanistan. So with that, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephen Donovan. Again, Dr. Georgioff, his son is leading the charge now. I think Dr. Georgioff has got to be like 84 years old now, so it's pretty difficult for him to still get behind the chair, but his son has donated so much time to this cause. And the way it came about was when I met a good friend of mine who ended up being a longtime friend. His name was Daniel Foster, and on his second tour in Afghanistan, he got hit. He lost a big part of his jaw and all his teeth. And when we got out of the service, he got the Silver Star, he got the Purple Heart. We were like 21 and a half when we got out, and he had no dental care. So the VA gave him back his disability claim, and there was nothing for dental. So, he was missing his teeth and some of his jaw. You can't blame the government for everything. I'm not blaming government. There was a tough process in the VA in that period. It was a few years ago. But long story short, the Orange County community came together. They put money together, and Dr. Georgioff's son, Dr. Georgioff, led the charge in doing reconstructive surgery for his mouth. So through that process, my friends and I were kind of like, man, how many other guys like this are there, A, and then B, how come we don't get dental either? So that's how we got our 501c3, and we started raising money, and right now we're event-oriented, but if there's triage dentistry that needs to be made, we haven't turned anyone down. If they have an infection, if they need a tooth pulled out, we can do that, and we're working on funds for crowns and fillings and the stuff that costs a little bit more. So right now, we're not going to turn anyone away that needs triage surgery, and that's where we're at right now, and we really appreciate the help and the podium to speak about this so the community knows where to send our vets. And we want to start with Santa Ana and keep branching out as far out as we can. We have a board member in Indianapolis. Indianapolis University has an amazing program where they do total reconstructive surgery for everybody out of Indianapolis. So anyways, this is a great organic place where we could start it, get the operations going, and then other people can mimic what we're doing in Santa Ana, and we can take care of dental care for everybody across the nation. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, Stephen, I'm also going to put a plug in, because I know our police department does a lot of great work out here with our homeless, in particular with some of our veterans that are out here. We have a program, a heart program that we've been really doing. It's been showcased in the Orange County Register for the great work that our police department has done. And so certainly they would like to use you as a resource, and because that's what we do, is provide resource. Not us, but the police department provides resources out there to the homeless, and some of those folks out there are veterans, and so we can provide that resource to them. So that's Chief Rojas right there. Certainly, he'll give you the information. But again, on behalf of the mayor and council, just would like to recognize you, and also Matt for your contributions. And then please give our kindest, regards to the Georgioff family and for all the work that they just do. We certainly love this family, and we're just very grateful that they're out here helping you. With that being said, congratulations.
Thank you so
and
much.
if you need anything from us, don't hesitate to contact us.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
All right, great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call on Mayor Pro Tem Celtine Ajero and Councilmember Angie Amezcua, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we can have Ms. Angelica Cardoza come on up to be recognized. Do we have her certificate up here? As she's walking up, come on all the way, come around this way here. Yeah, you get to go up to the front, and yeah.
New high heels on.
That's all right. As she's walking up, I just want to let you know, Councilwoman Angie Amezcua and I are both educators, and so we have made it a point to recognize educators in the city of Santa Ana who do great things. And these are educators that you're not going to hear about. You're not going to see them on the register because their students are not going to be at a Harvard University or at a Yale University. But these are educators that I call our invisible heroes in the city of Santa Ana. A little bit about what Ms. Cardoza does. She is a special day class, SDC teacher. She works with students that need the most care when you go into an educational setting. Her class load can range from 10 students to 15 students. That's how much you have to be very precise to be able to care for these students and be very well trained. A little bit about what an SDC teacher requires. When you are an SDC teacher, when you are a principal who has SDC classes in their class, you require educators who have patience, they have a heart of service, and a love for all human beings. And you need people who can see the potential in individuals that some others cannot see. And Angelica Cardoza represents all of those. She has those qualities. When I asked members of her school, and I called, I said, who would you like to recognize? Who deserves to be recognized? It was multiple individuals said, do you know Angelica Cardoza? And I said, the name sounds familiar. I said, but I don't know her. And they said, she went to school at the same time you went to school. And I said, really? She says, yeah, she was on the dance team. I said, I'm still trying to picture it. And they said, she had braces. I went, does she have black hair? They said, yes, black hair. I remember her. I said, that's Saddleback? She said, that's Saddleback. I said, all right. So we had to bring her up here. Ms. Cardoza is on the front lines. And like I said, it takes a great deal of patience. And one of the reasons why it was important for us to recognize her is, as I stated before, it takes a great deal, it takes a calling to teach these students, to have it in your heart to say, these are the students that I want to touch. A lot of people don't know this, but as you know, the divorce rate is about 55%. Amongst parents who have children with disabilities, it goes up to close to 70%. The stress level that parents have in caring for these children sometimes breaks up a marriage. And Ms. Cardoza is the person that is there. When she sees issues at home, she refers them to the proper areas where they can get some type of help to not only serve the child, but also help the family stick together, because that is so important. So I'm going to stop there because I know that Councilwoman Amezcua has a few things that she'd like to say. And we're just so very proud that you're a Saddleback alumni. I mean, it's just wonderful to be able to do that today. And so...
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd just like to add that it really does take a special person to be a special education teacher. I'm an educator, but I don't think I could do that. You really do need to have a heart of patience, a heart of gold, and just incredible amount of patience to work with these children. And if you're teaching at Saddleback, I can only imagine, even with the older students, how much more difficult that must be. I'm very proud to say that she is a Santa Ana hero, born and raised. She actually attended my elementary school, Jefferson Elementary. She also went to McFadden Intermediate. I also attended McFadden, and she graduated from Saddleback just like I did. So very proud. I never really got to see her. We didn't graduate at the same time, but I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to meet someone like Miss Angelica Cardoza. And without further ado, I think Mayor Pro Tem is going to present the certificate.
Oh, I have this. Thank you. Before I do, I'd like to introduce some very special people in her life. Her husband, David. If you could please stand and be recognized. Her father, Angel. Angel, is he here? And her mother, Socorro. Thank you very much. You should be very proud.
Gabby and Lupe are both coworkers.
Oh, Gabby and Lupe are coworkers? You guys also work at the special place called Saddleback High School? Thank you for being here tonight. One of the things that Angelica Cardoza does that I don't know. I think she needs a little bit of medication because I would never do this. But she walked for 300 miles. She walked for 300 miles. It took her a whole month. She went out, got a little backpack on, and went out there and just decided she was going to take a look at nature and talk to God. And we went out there and walked, and that was something that I thought, unless there's a cheeseburger at the end of the road, I'm not going. But anyhow, we want to recognize her for her commitment and dedication to working with disabled students. Ms. Angelica Cardoza was born and raised in Santa Ana. She attended Jefferson Elementary School, McFadden Intermediate School, and Saddleback High School. She also attended UC Berkeley. For the past 18 years, Angelica has worked for the Santa Ana Unified School District. For 17 of those years, she worked with students with moderate to severe disabilities. Angelica worked at Valley High School for 9 years and has been working at Saddleback High School for the past 8 years. She volunteers her time to chaperone and accompany her students to community events such as the Down Syndrome Association of Orange County, Buddy Walk at Angel Stadium, Special Olympics events throughout Southern California, fundraising events, and community parades. Angelica is committed to ensuring that students with disabilities live a healthy, stable, and fulfilling life. And today, Ms. Cardoza, we thank you for your commitment and dedication to working with students with disabilities. You're truly an asset to our community, and today we celebrate you. So I want to thank you. If you could say a few words.
To my fellow Roadrunners, I have a little token of my gratitude. It's a lanyard from Saddleback High School, so you can remember your alma mater. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
So I would like to thank Mayor Pro Tem Sal Tinajero and Councilwoman Amezcua. It means a lot to me to receive this recognition, especially from you both who are educators who understand the rigors of our profession. So thank you so much. I would also like to thank the City of Santa Ana and the Santa Ana Unified School District. They gave me the tools to succeed at a top-notch university. And ironically, today they give me an amazing career. It's both challenging and rewarding in equal measure. So thank you so much, Santa Ana. I absolutely love what I do. No matter what's happening in my day when I arrive to work, it is the joy of my day. I mean, I work with some of the funniest, most unique young people on our high school campus. And secondly, I get to work with amazing women and educators such as Lupe Hernandez, who's here with me today, and Gabby Bernal. They're fantastic at what they do, and they teach me every day how to become a better educator and how to work with students who have challenging behaviors and other medical issues. So thank you, Gabby. Thank you, Lupe. You guys are amazing. I'd like to thank my husband, who's here, who has to deal with me when I get home. And I sometimes brainstorm out loud about a particularly challenging set of behaviors in a student or a student who requires assistance in medical areas. He's a scientist, so anything medical, I turn to him. And I'd like to thank my parents who are here as well. They gave me many of the skills that helped me to succeed at my job. My mother taught me patience and kindness, so thank you, Mom. And my dad taught me to have an enthusiasm for life and a zest for living, and he also taught me the meaning of hard work, so thank you, Mom and Dad. You guys are awesome. And in conclusion, I just have so much to be grateful for, and this recognition is another reminder of this. So thank you so much, Santa Ana. I love to serve this community. It's my community. Thank you so much. Thanks again. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have some amazing cheerleaders here today, but I want to let you know something about Ms. Cardoza. If you go to Saddleback High School, there's this huge banner that says Dance Team State Champions. She was on that team. I think her team won 3 years in a row.
3 years state and 1 year national. We got to go to Japan.
Look at this. 3 years nationals, and I got to go to Japan, so congratulations.
And I want to call again on Mayor Pro Tem Tinajero and Councilman Reyna. I believe you're going to do the midget red and peewee cheer teams.
Can we come? Oh my God! Can we come up the junior midget Santa Ana Pop Warner cheerleaders? What happened to the guys? There's no guys on your team? No, not anymore. No. So who does the stunts? Is that true that he did a back handspring? Yes. Did he? I used to be able to do that. Can't do it. All the way down, all the way down. Councilmember Roman Reyna made it a point to assure that we recognize these young ladies behind us. So this is the Midget Red and the Pee Wee Red cheer teams. We are recognizing them today for being selected to participate in the Pop Warner National Cheer Championships. Let's give them a round of applause. You have to qualify to get there. And the Midget Red Cheer Team was established in August of 2014 and is comprised of girls ages 10 through 13. The Pee Wee Red Cheer Team was established in August of 2013 and is comprised of girls ages 9 through 12. Who's 9? None of you guys are 9? She's not here? Oh, okay. She's like, I'm not 9 anymore, I'm 10, I'm sorry. Since August 1st, 2014, both teams have been practicing 5 days a week for 2 to 3 hours a day. And you know, there's some people that say cheerleading is not a sport. They're wrong, right? Cheerleading is definitely a sport. You have to jump up and down, you have to do exercise, you have to be strong enough to throw people up. Anybody do a Cupie? Who does? Nobody knows how to do a Cupie? Why does every time I say that, cheerleaders laugh at me? Do you not think I know what a Cupie is? I'm done. I don't want to talk to you guys. The Midget Red Cheer Team received second place at the OEC cheer competition and placed fourth at regionals in Long Beach, California. The Pee Wee Red Cheer Team received first place at the OEC cheer competitions and earned a bid at regionals in Long Beach, California. Both teams, and this is what's awesome, both teams have been selected to participate in the Pop Warner National Cheer Competition in Orlando, Florida. So we are here to recognize them today. And if we could have one of their coaches come on up, or one of the captains or one of the coaches come on up and say a little bit about themselves. Okay.
Hello. So these girls have been working so hard since August 1st. Day one, I had them doing the hardest things they could possibly do, and I did not take no for an answer ever. So these girls have worked so hard to make it to where they are now. They've gotten first in their competitions in the Orange Empire region and first in the WestCon region. So I couldn't be more proud of these girls. And our journey is not over. We're going to go to nationals, and our goal is to place in the top 5. So out of 16 teams. So I think they can do it. So we'll see. Thanks.
I couldn't be more proud of these ladies. These girls have done an amazing job and impressed me so much that there's just nothing I can say. I love them all. I love the parent support, the league, everything. These girls right here are the reason why I've been here for 15 years. And I have no more kids in the program. Those 2 are mine. They're giving back to the program. And I just don't want to leave. And this is the reason why, these ladies right here. Thank you.
You know, these young ladies come from Memorial Park and the Pop Warner system. And to me, there's no greater investment into a person's life than to have a mentor. And I had an opportunity to go visit these young ladies a couple of weeks ago. And when I was talking with them, lo and behold, I saw one of my coaches when I was in 6th grade. And Coach Joe was surprised that I remembered him. I said, Coach, how you doing? He's in here in the audience today. Coach, I really appreciate all the work that you've done. helping me out, helping them out, and continue to do so. These are the type of everyday heroes and champions that we need. This is the investment of our young people. Please join me in giving him a round of applause as well. And there must be something in the water because it's contagious. As you heard, the coach has her 2 daughters that are investing and giving back as well. And this is really the fabric and the foundation of our community. This is tomorrow. And when you have 10, 11, 12-year-old kids dedicated 3 hours a day to work on cheerleading, to work on a single issue, that speaks volumes of their character. Normally at this age, they want to be running around at the mall, they want to run around on the computer and not really invest much time into their own personal growth. And when you have that perseverance, that is a great foundation for the path of success for the rest of their life. That is the perseverance. That is the impact of these young ladies. We need to continue to help them as they struggle to get to Orlando, and as we're going to try to help as much as we possibly can to get on out there. I will say, but before I did leave, I asked them if does anybody do a round-off back spring. And they're like, really? And I go, watch this. 45-year-old man, taught myself. I did it. They were surprised. They were blown out of the water. I said, I need to come back with you. You teach me a few things. I might teach you a few things. Join me in giving them a round of applause one more time.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say it from right here. And Councilman Roman Reina just mentioned it right now, that these young ladies need help to get to Orlando. They reached out to me, and I was in Washington, D.C., but, I did make a commitment. I just wrote a check for $200 to these girls to help them get there. And so I'm asking the residents and all of you who are out here in the audience, we were once young. We once had dreams. And today is Tuesday, which is a national holiday, giving back and having kindness. So it's I think it's called Giving Tuesdays, which is a national holiday. So it's a perfect opportunity to write a check to a nonprofit organization, to Pop Warner, to help these young ladies get to Florida. And I'm just hoping that you guys will, from the kindness of your heart, will write a check or give what you can to help these young ladies get to Florida. Many years ago, when I first got elected, I helped raise dollars to get the boys out there to Florida from the football team, and that's something that we all can do, not only as council members, but as a community. When we talk about kindness, about giving back, this is our future right here. And yes, it's the holidays, but you're changing these young girls' lives by giving them the opportunity to do something that they may never be able to do again. We only get to live once as young children, and then we grow up. Well, some of us grow up, right? But for the most part, this is a really special opportunity for all of you. And so I will continue to help, and if I can give more money, I certainly will. I'm just hoping that, I know our city manager is already pledged. I'm just hoping others will pledge to help you get there, and I'll do everything possible to get all of you guys there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Martinez. I definitely appreciate your support. I will join your pledge and make that same contribution. I will challenge everyone out there to dig as much as you possibly can to give back to these young ladies. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate it.
If I can have Rock Garcia, Francisco Orellana, Angie Christensen, and Roger Jones, if you could come on down, please. Standing to my right is Rock Garcia. He began his career here in the city of Santa Ana in November of 1994. He was in the reproductions department at the time. During his 5-year tenure there, he was named Employee of the Year. That was back in 1996. Then in 1999, he accepted a position as Parking Meter Technician 1. It was during this time that he and the parking meter team was bestowed in the city manager's Total Equality Service Award. Rock was subsequently promoted to Parking Meter Technician 2 and was recently promoted to lead of parking meter operations. Rock is always known to have a positive outlook at work, and I believe in life in general. He truly values the relationships he's made with coworkers over the last 20 years. He believes these relationships are the foundation of a successful employee. He's been married to his high school sweetheart, Jeanette, for 27 years. They have a daughter named Destiny and 2 twin boys, Jonathan and Jeremy. And is anybody present? They're all here. Everybody stand up, please. Stand up. Rock's hobbies include playing guitar in his band. Lead guitar or bass? What do you play? Lead guitar. His band is called the Midnight Train. Also, he plays golf. And most importantly, he dedicates his time to supporting his boys in their busy season of their high school life. Jonathan plays varsity football and baseball at Irvine High School, while Jeremy is in music and theater at Santa Ana's own Orange County School of the Arts. Besides being honored with his 20-year recognition, Rock has a couple of other milestones he's looking forward to in January. He's turning the big 50, and more importantly, he's a grandpa. For the first time, his daughter and her husband expect their first child, Brooklyn Sandra, and I think the expected date is January 17th. It is right around the corner. Have I missed anything?
That covers it.
That covers it. And this is a token of appreciation. I believe it's a clock. And, it's been 20 years, but it goes by in a flash. And you've done a great job, and please continue working on behalf of this community. You do a very, very good job. Thank you, Rock. This is Francisco J. Orellana, and he also is a distinguished 20-year employee here in the city. His career has been in the Public Works Agency, and during his tenure, he has served as design engineering, also development engineering. Currently, he's in traffic engineering, and Francisco is in charge of the neighborhood traffic, including permit parking program and dealing with neighborhood associations and all. Does a wonderful job. He's been exposed to many different situations and challenges, not just in dealing with the general public, but also with all the various city departments and partner agencies. He has consistently handled all of his assignments and professionalism, and is a genuine commitment to produce the best service possible. One of his most important projects is the handling of the 3-year Safe Routes to School education program, providing traffic safety instruction to 39 elementary schools here in the city of Santa Ana. Francisco always displays a degree of honesty, loyalty, integrity, and dedication to the performance of his job. The best of these is the sense of caring, which he has demonstrated by his efforts with his knowledge, his coworkers, the way he deals with people, particularly the guidance of younger engineers, many of which have benefited from the 20 years of experience that Francisco has here. Francisco has a loving wife, Margie. They have 3 wonderful children, Rachel, Marcos, and Olivia. Are they here? Yeah. They're here. Please stand up. He enjoys spending his time with his beautiful family and friends, also traveling, watching movies, attending recitals, attending plays. He's a head cheerleader for the kids, during their sporting activities. He also participates in the Boys and Girl Scout events, and he attends Mass on Sundays. This is a good man. And we're fortunate to have him here with a wonderful family doing a wonderful job. And we're marking time, and thank you. Thank you, Francisco. They want a photo. How come Rock... I know, but you should get a photo.
Good. And then Angie's next, Mayor.
Angie's next.
Yeah, you're going to do that.
Angie? You're getting a standing ovation. I haven't even started yet. Standing to my right is a person I have had the privilege of working with for 30 years now. I think it'll be that you've been here. I've not been here 30 years, but you have. And I've been here about 28, so I've known you a long time, Angie. Angie is the matriarch in the true sense of the word of City Hall. You know, look, you can see her. She is warm and sweet. She's also capable and has a steady hand.
Mayor, don't forget she has style. Look at her outfits.
A lot. She has everything. She has a good sense of humor. And, you know, together, she's been here for more than 30 years. And tonight we celebrate her service for these 3 decades of service. And also she has decided to retire. And I believe it's on the 30th of December. There's going to be a big party right before New Year's Eve. And then she's going to wake up January 1st and say, what have I done? But you're going to be missed, Angie, and hopefully you'll come back and visit and such. She says she will. She is a true professional. Angie is a certified administrative professional, and over the years, she has served as president of the Orange County Empire chapter of the International Association of Administrative Professionals. This organization is committed to enhancing the success of career-minded administrative professionals by providing opportunities for growth through education, community building, and leadership development. Angie has always embraced her profession, and she serves as a role model in her field. It's true, Angie. In fact, I understand that as part of her retirement, you know, she's going to continue to stay active and help women achieve their career goals. And she's also known for a strong work ethic, her dedication to her coworkers, her community, and to quality work product. Her multiple years here at City Hall, you know, she has a keen understanding of City Hall operations, and she's truly seen as the go-to person at City Hall. Whenever anybody needs direction or information, they go ask Angie. And then she tells them to go climb a high mountain and seek and pray and seek guidance, and they do. And then they come back and say thank you. It is her great personality. I mean, you can see her warm demeanor. She's loved by all. I mean, you know, Gail got up and gave her a standing ovation before the thing began, and over the years, you know, she's gathered, you know, many friends. Her husband Bob, who I believe is here, says that Angie is not only compassionate, but that she gathers friends. She gathers people that like her. And most importantly, I think Angie takes her role, her most sacred role, which is that of being a mother and a grandmother. And she has 3 children and 4 grandchildren. Angie is a dedicated family person, and we know her retirement years will be filled with family trips and memories and activities and, you know, cherished moments. And is your husband and daughter here? Who is here?
My husband Bob and my daughter
Carrie. Carrie, why don't you stand up? And Bob, why don't you stand up as well? Angie, anything that I've missed, do you think?
I think you've covered everything.
Covered everything? Well, look, this is a big one.
Is it heavy?
It's not that heavy, but I'm sure it's pretty inside. Later tells what it is. I bet you it's a big clock or something like that. You know, 30 years and you deserve everything. And thank you so much for all the love you've given this city and all the people that you worked with, Angie. Thank you. Roger. Standing to my right is Roger A. Jones, and he's been here 35 years, so he's the senior employee being acknowledged here this evening. And I think that speaks wonders of the city that great people like Roger Jones are here that long, doing a wonderful job, you know, over the decades, literally. Roger is of Welsh extraction. He grew up in southeast London. He played with the Beatles in the early days, and then he immigrated. No, he didn't do that. I made that up. But he did emigrate to the U.S. in 1970. And you're probably, you know, when the Beatles were in Liverpool, you're in the same part of the world. Did you ever go to a concert?
No, I never saw the Beatles in concert.
You never saw them?
No.
But you were in the area.
Well, I was living in Southeast London.
All right, he was in Southeast London. He never went to a concert. We'll leave that alone. But you go to concerts sometimes.
It's been a long time.
All right, I got the wrong topic. I'm sorry. It's been a long time. 35 years ago, maybe?
Well, yeah, I did when I was younger.
All right, 35 years ago. He reads a lot. Look, let me tell you more stuff about Roger.
Books about concerts.
You read books about concerts. Now we're starting to talk. This is good. Once when he was here in the U.S. back in 1970, he worked for the Placentia Library while pursuing his education. He went to my alma mater, and I think Michelle's and others, Cal State Fullerton. Go Titans. And he earned a degree in English and in comparative literature. So he didn't attend concerts then, we know that. He then attended USC, and you obtained a master's degree in library science back in 1978. So far, so good. Roger joined the Santa Public Library in 1979 as a FIM librarian and later became the library's map librarian. He was promoted to senior librarian in 2001, and he's been the mainstay of the library's expertise in art, literature, music. Roger, you've got music, and auto/motorcycle, and also guitar restoration. We do guitar restoration at the library?
Well, it's a very popular area, anything to do with either playing or...
Wow, I didn't know that.
And then we have some...
So he says it's a very popular topic, and he's an expert in that.
I wouldn't call myself an
Not an expert, but you've done it. You know more than I do. Okay. He was an organizing member of the library team that won the Exceptional Service Award some years ago for finding ways to utilize donate books and audio visuals to supplement library collections.
Correct.
We're good on that one. He currently manages the library's passport acceptance services and produces the city's annual facts and figures sheet.
Correct.
Okay. Roger still enjoys the daily variety of experiences and people he meets in the library and finds his interest in the work renewed by the many changes taking place in the library profession.
Yes.
He lives in Fountain Valley with his wife, Linda. The Joneses have 2 sons, Christopher and Michael, and 4 grandchildren, ages 5 through 11. Are they present?
Unfortunately not. My wife's attending a school function.
She's attending a school function for the sons, the other ones, so everybody's excused. Just tell them we asked. Roger enjoys spending time with his family and also contemplative fishing. Is that like what you do when you don't fish anything?
Well,
It's contemplative fishing?
It's finding some peace and quiet.
Peace and quiet.
Somewhat like Thoreau.
It's like not going to a concert and enjoying it. Do you fish sometimes? You catch fish? Or mainly you contemplate?
Oh, I have, yes.
You can always go to the store afterwards, you know. It says you're also a voracious reader of biography and history.
I read quite a lot.
You read quite a lot. I think librarians should. Anything I missed, Roger?
And I think you got all that.
Got it all there. We certainly captured your beautiful spirit, and I don't know why 35 years is smaller than 30, but great things come in small packages like diamonds and pearls, you know, and this might look small up here on the stage, but it represents a wonderful job that you've done along with Angie and all the other wonderful employees that we have. So take care, keep reading, keep doing your contemplative fishing. Let's go forward. Thank you. See, there's 4 wonderful employees doing a wonderful job for the city. Let's give them all a warm applause. Boy, that's one to remember, contemplative fishing. That's a good one. So with this, I'm going to direct our attention to the consent calendar and first ask the city attorney if there's anything to report out.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. We do have reportable action on items 3 and 4. We continued those matters to our next city council meeting on December 16th. And we had reportable action in the Yolanda Pena versus City of Santa Ana case. The council voted 5-0 with Mayor Polito and Councilmember Sarmiento absent to settle the matter for $27,500. And we received settlement direction in the Sipple versus City of Alhambra et al. Matters. That's all we have for tonight.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Madam City Attorney. What I'm going to do now is first turn to council and see if we have any items on the consent calendar. I want to abstain on item 22A and B. I may have contributions. I'm out of an abundance of caution. I choose to abstain on those 2 items. Any other items? Councilor Martinez,
yes,
please.
Yes, Mayor. I would like to pull items 22B, 23A, 25C, recuse myself on 25E. I did receive a campaign contribution, and those are the items I'd like to pull.
So 22B and 23 what?
22B, 23A, 25C.
And then you're recusing on 25E. Okay, any other items by council members? Councilor Reyna?
I'm going to pull 20A just for a question.
Okay, that's fine. 20A. Any other items? I would entertain a motion on the balance.
So motion. Second.
Motion is second. Those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. So why don't we go to 20A? Councilor Martinez, was that yours, Councilor Reyna?
I guess it's a question for staff, and I don't necessarily see Gerardo, and here he comes. We're looking to allocate some additional funds moving forward, and I'm a very big advocate of Parks and Rec and the investment that it does have. One question and one concern. Anytime we talk about anticipated revenue, I'm a little hesitant because we never know what we're going to get. So that's just one thing that concerns me. But on number 3, it looks like we're going to spend about $6,000 for OCTA revenue amount. Can you explain that a little bit more to me? 28, number 3.
That's the, That's the grant that we get annually. We have been getting it regularly to help us with the senior mobility, the transportation program, the
Correct.
Seniors on the Go program.
The 6,000 is what I guess what I'm curious. What are we spending 6,000 on? I would have thought that the grant or the budget would have been.
No, the grant is larger. This must have been an additional amount that we received this year. I believe what it was is that there's every year there usually is an adjustment, and we believe we're going to get X, but it turns out that we get a little bit more, and that's what it is. We have to recognize the revenue waiting, but it supports the Seniors on the Go program.
Sure. No, again, I'm supportive. I was just a little curious that it was relatively a small amount in a weird way. I would have.
Yeah, the actual grant is a lot larger because it pays for the bulk of the transportation program. This is just additional what we usually get.
Would you like to move the item?
I'll move it.
Is there a second? Councilor
Second.
Martinez?
Second.
Okay. Those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Before we continue, I just have a couple agenda items on consent that a couple speakers want to speak on. So Frank, Mira Hanger, a Marion Construction Company, I think you want to talk on 20B and C, I believe it is. So if you can come forward at this time, and also, on item 20D, Klubukian or something like that, or Klubukin from Garden Grove, Mainco, would be the next speaker. Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor. I'm a member of the City Council. My name is Frank Mergehanger. I'm a principal of American Construction, who won the bid on item C, which is to do with the installation of the LED lighting in parking garages. We were, when we bid the project, we were the lowest bidder on all items, the street lighting, single and double fixtures, as well as the LED lighting in the parking structure. And we were selected for Part C due to the lack of funding, we were told. And the item A and B, as you notice, was going to be purchased by the city from Powerlux Corporation, and the other one is South Coast Lighting.
Frank, sir, are you talking about, because here on your form you say item 20B and then 20C. Yeah. Which one are you talking about, both?
We're under 20C.
20C, okay.
And then I just want to make a comment that these two companies that offer the lighting, there is no installation involved. We are the only contractor.
Councilor Martinez believes you're talking about 20B.
The lead parking stripe, the lights, correct?
Yeah, the lighting, that's part of 20C. B? Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Anyway, we were just trying to make a comment that, the other items are just being purchased by the city and going to be installed by the city. And I was hoping that we could be given the opportunity to do the installation on the street light as well.
Well, look, I think you're talking about item 20B, but section C.
Yes.
Item 20B, section C.
That's correct.
What I would recommend is maybe, go through the staff and find out how we're going to do that. But I know here we're mainly talking about just the contract on the LED lights themselves. And $84,000, we've approved that. So I'd suggest, I don't know why Public Works is recommending this, but maybe you could go through the city manager to Public Works, and if we can have you install it competitively, it'd probably be a separate contract, but once you go that route, we hear what you're saying.
I appreciate the opportunity.
You see the gentleman right there? Just walk over to him. He'll give you his card. That's our city manager, David Cavazos.
I appreciate it,
okay?
Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, so now let's take the second one, see if I can...
Mayor, just very quick question.
Please, go ahead.
On 20B, I was going to pull the item, but I understand that we're reappropriating the adjustments of the funds from Edison in that account. But as I read the recommended action from direction from the city attorney to prepare items A through D, my question is that are we moving forward as an entire contract and we're approving the $418,000 that really add up to A through D? But I'm wanting to make sure that I see that there's different contractors. For example, one is to provide no-cost funding through SoCal, Edison, and then some other types are single fixtures, double fixtures, and then LED parking structure lights. My question to you, Fred, is the city going to be installing those? Because to his question here on item C, that they're going to only install the parking structure lights, parking structure, and who will be doing everything else? So that's my question for item A, B, and then on D, that's just really to provide no-cost funding, so I don't believe that there's anything, it has to deal with the financing. So on A and B, can you please inform us if Edison's going to be installing those or the City of Santa Ana Public Works?
Or somebody else.
Or someone else, because we only have on item C that we're hiring this firm to provide the LED parking structure lights.
Overall, LED conversion is complicated because of financial ramification of it and different funding coming from different places. I think in this kind of case, Amiron would be installing the LEDs, and the way you see different companies is because different companies have different products that are best suitable for application that we're using here. So Amiron would be doing installation.
I'm just curious how one firm couldn't do all three versus hiring 3 different firms to do the work of, it's really not a lot of work. When you look at the cost, $418,000 in each one of these firms, one's getting $160,000, the other's getting $120,000. So when we're looking at a return on investment, I'm just trying to figure out, and I know it's very complex, but at the same time, to really streamline what we're trying to do and put these lights on, I'm just trying to figure out why we're working with 3 firms.
Councilor Martinez, maybe what would be appropriate, maybe they should develop a memo to answer your question, because I think it's a very good question. Obviously, the answer is complicated,
yes.
but let's get a memo out to council and to the public at large and try to understand this better. But for now, we should move forward. I mean, we've already voted. We should move forward, but let's understand it better. All right, thank you. I have one more speaker possibly on this item. Are you here? K-L-U-B-N-I-K-I-N, I believe. Please go ahead, sir.
Mr. Mayor, Honorable Council, Michael Klubnikin. Gee, I had no idea you had staff that knew the Beatles and worked with them, so you bring up...
Well, he didn't.
No, I made
But he
a
was
joke.
close. He should have.
Yeah, you bring out the best in your staff, and it's a credit.
Oh, we have great
Sal
staff.
And
Great
these
staff.
people, he was a volunteer, the TKO and Alexa. I don't want to use all my time, but boy, you guys recognize the Utes. Whether you're growing a church or a city, it's in the Utes, and you parade them with their big smiles. That's a credit to the leadership. I'd like to just comment on this about using appropriation of funds for electrical charging stations. And a lot of times...
You're on item 20D, are you?
20D is
Got
what
it.
I'm going
Okay, go ahead.
I think Senator Correa said it best the last meeting. He said sometimes it's better to take a deep breath and not move forward and then, let the dust settle. And I think this is a perfect example. I think you guys are on a quorum. It's been continued, so there is some questions here. But this clean air, for the children, sometimes things aren't as they always appear to be. I quite honestly think that this electrical move to, and the guise of, we're going to save all this energy. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. There's a lot of energy expended just to get these electrical, industry up and running. This might just be a whole cottage new industry of the medical field for all these new things. I mean, here's a cell phone, putting a half-inch next to your, soft tissue of your brain, microwaves, you're going to have a whole cottage medical industry. I think this electrical car stuff is, a lot of people have become multimillionaires for riding the wave of the electrical thing. And so on the guise of what looks good, Beverly Hillbillies was about black gold Texas tea oil. He didn't stumble on a cord. The whole industry, from makeup to the internal combustion engine, is oil. Every war is governed by oil. I don't know. I just think putting the money of taxpayer into these, stations for clean air vehicles is not a good use of that, especially since it's not a there hasn't been so much study doing it because we haven't really known about this. But I'm just from the old school of petroleum and move forward. But this clean air, putting money into these clean air vehicles, I think these people are riding that wave. It's going to, time will tell, but I think that's just a major industry for medical issues with, God didn't intend you for your body to be encompassed with an electrical charge, nor did he want your brain to have a cell phone. We all have them. But I mean, this putting people inside a car with just, sabotage your electromagnetic system of your God-given immunity system and biochemical, I think is not a good idea. So I would think this would be a time to hesitate. A suggestion would be have a countdown of a clock instead of the three lights, because I have no idea. Do I have time left or am I done?
No, you're done, because
Okay.
when it's red, it's red. But maybe we can have a time clock as long as it's not electric, but I'm not sure how that would work. But thank you, and why don't we move on for a moment? Council members, which was the next item? I think was that 22B?
22B.
I think that was Councilmember Martinez.
Yes, Mayor,
Go
thank
ahead.
you very much. So if I could have staff please approach me. So 22B is really the asphalt pothole repair. I want to thank our new Public Works Director and their staff for moving us in this direction. And what we're doing here is just not really fixing potholes, but what we're doing here is trying to get into ADA compliance and fixing some of our sidewalk rampings that have been needed, where we have a lot of sometimes issues with pedestrians as they're walking. And so I just want to thank the Public Works staff for moving very quickly on this. I know we've talked about this and we're doing a lot more, but I do have a question in regards to this, and I'm wanting to thank you. I know we're not to exceed $450,000. So my question to you is, we're using American Asphalt. Glad it's a local company. Go Santa Ana. They're in Santa Ana. Number two, I'm wanting to make sure, I know that you're wanting to use this for the rampings of sidewalks, but also to refill potholes. What percentage will we be using for ramping sidewalks, and what's the other percentage to refill potholes? Because $450,000 is really not going to get us very far.
Thank you, Councilmember. The sidewalks will be fixed based on priorities. So we're setting a non-motorized priority.
But we have a 5-year waiting list, right?
Yeah, we're going to prioritize based on number of people using the different areas, and then we're going to apply every dollar to most highest priority and work our way down the list.
And the reason why I ask this is because as we move forward with our capital improvement project, and as this council, we're going to be approving here today our budget calendar. This is where we need to really look at our priorities as it pertains to our sidewalks and our streets, and how much money we're going to dedicate or find to actually make this a top priority. So I'm just wanting to make sure that this is just a very nominal amount. We're not really going to get a lot done with $450,000. Where we're going to really do all the great work is through the CIP, as you identify the top priority areas, in particular to the sidewalk issues that we have citywide. And as I just mentioned, we have, a tremendous amount of work ahead of us with citywide, not just in certain areas. In particular, my focus is really here in the Civic Center, in the downtown area, where there have been a lot of trip and falls as it pertains to people walking. And I'm just wanting to make sure, because of the big, massive trees that we have, a lot of the sidewalks, are in disrepair. And so as we move forward as well, being in compliance with ADA. So with that, I'm grateful that where there's a starting point, but we need to make sure that we hold ourselves accountable, and then we make it a top priority. With that, I'll move the item forward.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's go to item
23A.
23A.
Thank you. And Fred, you might as well just stay up here, because these are all your items. You have to remember, I only pull public work items. So the next two items are for Public Works, and And the reasons why I pull these items, because there's a lot of money being spent on public works projects that sometimes we overlook. And this is where when we're talking about capital improvement projects for the city, this is where it comes out of. This is what we're approving, and so it's very imperative that the public understands that as we move forward, in particular for item 23A, what we're doing here is really going to do some water main improvements, and as we're doing it, we've had this conversation, Fred, and I'm supportive of this, and it's certainly a lot of money and improvements that we're making, but here we have an opportunity possibly on 17, Bristol going to Broadway, fixing that water main. As we look forward in active transportation, what we don't want to do is, one, we're going to tear up the road, right? We're going to tear up the road to fix the water mains. And at the same time, we have an opportunity to either stripe for bike lanes if it's feasible, or do road diets. And so I'm wanting us to make sure that when we're reconstructing our streets, because we're trying to put infrastructure and redo our water mains, that we take a look at this as well. And because we had a missed opportunity on Broadway, we did those water mains there and it was reconstructed, and we're moving forward with our active transportation plans. So I want us to keep that in mind every time that we are doing upgrades to our water mains or our sewers.
Absolutely, and just a note that sometime we got the point that we need to take care of all of those mode of transportation, but sometimes we have to weigh in the risk of main rupture versus delaying the project. And when we can delay it, we'll delay to coordinate. But in this kind of situation, because of the leak history and the issues with that line, we have to move ahead with this.
Correct, and I know this is a top priority, but just as we move forward, to take that into consideration, because what we don't want to do is tear up a road and then we then decide to redesign a road or redo things, and we're really not leveraging our dollars. And I think we need to make sure that every dollar that we have, that we're able to leverage them. And you guys are doing fantastic work. I'm just wanting to reiterate that. I've spoken to you about that in the past, so thank you.
Sure.
Move the item forward.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, those addressed, motion carries.
And Fred, do not leave 25C.
Before you do 25C, I just want to get on the record the fact that Councilmember Vince Sarmiento is not going to be here, and I'd like an excused absence for him. If
So
I could
moved.
have, is there a second?
Second. Oh.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Let him know that we did not excuse him and see what he says.
And here, I'm supportive of
Go
this.
ahead.
On 25C, I'm supportive of this. I just have a comment here, Fred, and I want to thank us as we're redoing the Fairview Street Bridge rehabilitation. We're actually going to have now pedestrian path, which I think is very important, and I'm, again, wanting to thank you and our staff for moving us in that direction. So not just doing upgrades on the bridge for vehicles, for motorists, but also creating the opportunity for pedestrians to cross through there. And so I just want to thank you and move the item.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries unanimously. Next item, Madam Clerk. So we now go to 55A. Let me see if I have anybody want to speak on. Yeah, we have a speaker on 55A. Ellen Diamond, are you present? Also, Diane Ashbaugh, if you could come forward, both on item 55A. It's a French Court Permit Parking District. Please come on forward.
Hi, I'm Diane Ashbaugh. I live at 207 West 19th Street, and this agenda item would basically allow permit parking for our street, which we desperately need. There's been some improvements through our neighbor Oscar, where we've had portions of our street with limited parking, which has kept down a lot of nonsense on our street, but we're really pushing, and we got the signatures for our street to get the permit parking. We're really excited about it.
So you want a yes vote on this?
Absolutely.
Got it.
Please.
Yeah, and the parking would only be for overnight parking.
And you're Ellen?
I'm Ellen.
Got
I
it.
live at 202 West 19th Street, and I believe it would encompass the whole neighborhood. It wouldn't just be our street, it looks like, from the report, from the city report, and I think the other streets would also welcome that. I also wanted to say one other thing. I watch these meetings a lot, and sometimes I come down here, and I know people talk about you guys doing other things when public comments are on. Maybe you should work in like a 10-minute break after the presentations and before the meeting, so you guys can get water or go to the bathroom or check your messages or whatever you do, so that when people do come up here, because like I'm really nervous right now. So if you're getting up
You're
and
doing
walking
well.
around, but if
You're
you're
doing
getting up
well.
and walking around and leaving, and it makes people who come up here feel like you're not paying attention to them. So that way, if you have a chance to do those things, then maybe you can at least sit and like pretend to pay attention even.
Got it. And you want a yes vote, right?
I want a yes vote as well.
Got it.
Mayor,
Thank you.
I support
Yes.
the item, but I do have some comment.
Would you
And
like the
one,
motion?
I'd like make a motion with comment.
Okay.
One, I just want to thank the residents for coming out here. I know it's been long overdue, and our process is really convoluted, and this is what I want to discuss, and I have made mention to our city manager and our staff that we may need to relook at the process as we're moving forward with active transportation. I see Tag here in the audience, is that there's other forms besides just what we're doing here today is really doing a parking district permit process. There's other times where people want speed humps and all these other things for calming mechanisms and making sure that the appropriate people are parked there, or when they're going through the roads that we're able to reduce traffic. But the process, and I don't know what the waiting period is, that so many people are going through this process, it's really extensive. The signatures they have to go through to make sure that they are able to start the process, they need to get the signatures first, and that is a lot of work. And so as we move forward, I would like to see, if we can revamp the process, but two, include other ways of how we can control parking, how we can control really speed in those neighborhoods. I think that's very important, because I think at the end of the day, what our residents want is really, one, to assuring that they have the appropriate people parking in their neighborhoods, and then number two, that people are not going very fast in their neighborhoods, but we have to look at other innovative and creative ways of how we can do that without going through this lengthy process. So I'm supportive and I move the item forward, but I'm just wanting to make sure that I reiterate this again to Tag and to our Public Works Director, because we have a lot of people on the waiting list, but we want to figure out other ways to be creative and innovative.
And we should, although by its very nature, some people want it, some don't, so we have to be thorough and make sure everybody gets a voice. So, look, we're going to probably vote yes.
No, I just wanted to thank Michelle Martinez for bringing that up, because where we live on our street, we have Bowers Museum at one end, we have Maine.
Oh, no, you need this. You need this. And you've done a good job.
At breakneck speeds to get to the ballet, and just to limit the parking is going to help a lot, but maybe down the road to kind of put speed limits on our street, because I have had a child that's almost been hit, I've had several pets that have been hit. And,
Got it.
Amazing.
Got it. Thank you. A motion and a second. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Now I think we need item, is it 55B, Madam Clerk? We also have a speaker on that. Jean, if you can please come up, sir. And am I pronouncing your name right? Or please, why don't you say it slowly in the mic? In the mic. Say it slowly.
It's right.
I said it right?
Yes, you correctly pronounce my name.
I'm surprised. If you should look at that. Say it.
Tejeline?
Very close.
All right.
Yes.
And what about the first name?
Raya?
Not so close.
It's tough, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Thank you for giving me time to address.
Why don't you bring the mic down?
Okay. Thank you.
There you go.
Good evening, Mayor Pulido and respectful City
Pulido.
Oh, I'm sorry.
With an O.
Pulido and respectful City Council members of Santa Ana. My name is Ilya Tseglin. Regarding item 55B on agenda, respectfully adopt the resolution designating October 26th of each year as a Republic of Vietnam Day. Every person's life is precious. More than 3 million people, including 55,000 Americans, were killed in the Vietnam conflict when Vietnamese and Americans were fighting for freedom, independence, and justice against the communist tyranny promoted and supported by Soviets. It is a great respect to your council member and the precious life of Nate Seglin, the grandson of Holocaust and communist survivor, which is tortured by con men from Orange County Regional Center after he was kidnapped from his loving and protective family on the basis of false accusation fabricated on regular basis by employees from Regional Center for illegal profiting, stealing public funding money with assistance and cover of the social services and court system. No respect to Constitution and law in Santa Ana courthouse. Mafia of DDS and OCRC dominate over the court and public offices in Santa Ana. I cannot imagine how the person can go to the court for justice without representing by attorney. Thanks to your city council member who cared to assist my family, but sadly, the Santa Ana city manager office responded to my request to find an affordable attorney, admitting we have checked multiple...
Yeah, if you could please wrap up because it's red.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, multiple sources, unfortunately, have not been able to identify any resource to assist my family. I'm sorry, I don't want to take time if my time...
Thank you. So with that, I'm going to bring it back. We have a motion, and we have a second. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. With Councilor Benavides slowly walking into the room, so he did not vote on that item, but let's go on to this one. You can vote on this one. 65A.
Mayor, just a quick comment.
Please go ahead.
As I mentioned earlier, just as we move forward with the budget calendar for the fiscal year, just want to thank our city manager and the Finance, Economic Development, Technology Committee with Councilman Benavides and Tina. Not even Tinajero, Sarmiento. Sit, you know, he's...
Oh, you almost made it, Sal.
Sit on the committee with us, and as we move forward, you know, we've been really working hard, wanting to make sure that we're able to really include the council in what's going on as we move forward with this budget. The city manager and the staff put, you know, this together, and I think we're moving in the right direction and being transparent. But what I do want to offer, because we've discussed this in the committee over and over, is the CIP process as we move forward with the budget. So I'm wanting to make sure that we're able to create the CIP project guideline for the community so they understand what we're talking about with the budget. Hopefully we can do that by March. I saw that we're going to be moving forward to our committee in February, and then in March we go to the sunshine of our requirements. Before that, when we go out to the public, we should be able to provide the guidelines of the CIP to the public so that they understand, one, what are the priority projects of capital for the city, and so that they can be engaged in understanding that it's different than the general fund. These are two different budgets we will be approving, the general fund and then the CIP, two different things. They need to understand that. My colleagues need to understand that, and we need to be transparent and provide them that information. With that being said, I'd like to move the item.
Is there a second? Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Madam Clerk, I believe it's 65B. I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a presentation. If we have a motion to approve, maybe...
Mayor, I will just say that a very brief presentation, and maybe we don't need a full one. Mayor, members of City Council, we do have a rate study that will go to the public through a 218 process. I do want to emphasize that the Chairwoman Martinez and her committee reviewed this and recommended approval to the full City Council. We have an opportunity here to have almost $90 million in CIP projects for water and sewer over the next 5 years, and our rates will only go up 5 cents a day, which is about 3%, which is very, very cost effective, and it will protect the infrastructure, maintain a reliable water system. So Mayor, we'll leave it at your pleasure what to do.
Well, look, it went through committee. I'm fine. Any other questions? If not, those in favor, please say
Yeah,
aye.
Mayor, I do have comments.
Go ahead.
It did go through the committee, but we still have to go through a 218 process, the Proposition 218 process, where the voters are going to have to vote on this. And so I just want to make sure that we're transparent about this. What we're doing here is because, look, when we're talking about water, that's a sensitive issue here in this community, one. And two, I've never supported the water transfer, and I continue to not support that when we're transferring money to another department where we can be using those dollars to continue to fulfill what we're doing with our water department and using that money for infrastructure. And so it was very difficult for me in many respects to be supportive of this because of those reasons. But I understand it needs to get done. But as well, we have to go through Proposition 218 and wanting the voters to know that there is a process. And I also want to thank our consultants and everyone that put this together. And she's out there in the audience in the bill, because this is an extensive report. So this was something that we just didn't think about overnight. This is something that has been in the process for a couple of years, and they did a phenomenal job. But again, we have to go through the process. And so I'm just wanting to make sure that we understand that this is a process to Proposition 218.
And so it's going to be a multi-month, multi-year
So
situation.
this is not something that we should just bypass
motion to
because it
approve.
was important.
All right, got it. We have motion to approve in a second. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. 75A, I believe, Madam
Mayor, I have to recuse
City
myself.
Attorney, I think I should recuse myself because it's a downtown assessment. So I'll turn it over to our fine Mayor Pro Tem, Sal Tinajero.
Thank you.
Do you need 5 votes?
Do we need 5 votes, Madam Clerk? 4? Okay.
All right, so you got it, Sal.
So we have a public hearing? We're talking about 75A?
Yeah. You got a public hearing and then cut the staff presentation short.
Okay. At this time, I would like to call to order a public hearing to consider approving the 2015 Downtown Business Improvement District Assessment. Staff available for questioning. The public hearing is now open. We would like to hear from the public. If you have completed a speaker form, please step forward to the podium. If you would like to speak and have not completed a form, please do so and hand it to the city clerk. I'm not sure if he gave me the... Do we not have any? We don't have any speakers? Okay. We do not have any speakers. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come up and speak? If not, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Has the city clerk's office received any written communications regarding this matter which have not been distributed to the council?
No, we have not.
Does the council have any further questions, comments, or discussions?
No, I'd like to move the item.
Okay, do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Can we have the mayor and Councilwoman Michelle Martinez back? Okay. Okay, that brings us to the study session. Mobile vending trucks. Do we have any public comments on this item?
No, we have not received any cards.
Is there anyone in the audience that would like to turn in? Okay, then I will turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. Alvaro is going to go ahead and do a presentation on mobile vending issues.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, City Manager. We're here to talk about mobile vending. A brief description of the types of vending we have currently with the City of Santa Ana. We have 2 types, primarily. Catering trucks currently sell hot, prepared food. We currently have 105 catering vehicles with active business license here in the City of Santa Ana. The second type of vending vehicles that we have are produce vehicles, primarily selling vegetables, candy, fruit, milk, and currently we have 120 produce vehicles with active business license in the city. Those are the 2 primary types of vending catering trucks produce vehicles that we have with the city. Some of the key positive items that mobile vending vehicles do produce for the neighborhoods, they provide access to food and convenience in dense neighborhoods. So people that can't drive to stores, this is a convenience to people in the neighborhood. They're easily accessible to those without transportation. They sometimes extend credit for purchasing and then can act as eyes on the street due to their continual presence. Some of the legislative history regarding mobile vending here in the city of Santa Ana. 1994, the city adopted an ordinance to regulate mobile vending. In 1997, the court issued an injunction to cease enforcement of the regulations. In 2004 and 05, the city adopted new regulations. In 2006, an ordinance challenged in both state and federal court. The State Superior Court issued an injunction to cease enforcement on 3 primary items within ordinance of 0506. That's the hours of operation, the requirement to move every 90 minutes, and the revocation of city permits. In addition to the Superior Court issuing an injunction, the Federal District Court issued a temporary injunction prohibiting enforcement of all aspects of the ordinance. That's where we stand at this point. Some of the key concerns regarding the neighborhood: the concentration of vending vehicles on neighborhood streets, loud noise, damage to parkways, overnight parking in residential zones. That means vehicles are not returning to commissaries, vendors taking up limited parking spaces, and late night operation. As you can see, there's examples here: damage in the parkways, multiple produce trucks or catering trucks on the streets, some of the dense neighborhoods. Some of the key concerns with dealing with public health: they don't provide enough healthy food choices, sales of single cigarettes, fireworks, toy weapons, trash and litter accumulation, public urination, failure to comply with Orange County health standards. Some other items dealing with public safety: parking too close to intersections and driveways. They block visibility to crosswalk and sidewalks. Mid-block pedestrian crossing to reach trucks. Sometimes folks don't go to the corner, cross the crosswalk and walk, they just cross in the middle of the street. Tables and chairs blocking sidewalks or set up in the road, as I showed the photograph, and then can become targets of graffiti and gang identification. Just some examples. Again, obstruction of parkway and sidewalks, that's what we can address at this point. If they're blocking the parkway, the sidewalks, we can issue enforcement. Illegal unsafe parking with the police department, trash, public urination, county health standards, business license, graffiti, and noise. That concludes the presentation.
Any questions?
Mayor Pro Tem?
Go ahead, Councilmember Martinez.
Thank you. Look, I'm a little irked. I'm not irked at you or upset at you, Alvaro, but Mr. City Manager and Ms. City Attorney, when this issue came before us, and I know the audience that has been involved in this issue is probably kind of frustrated as well, because this has come before the Public Safety Committee. It came before us in closed session, and then we also had a mini kind of study session when Karen gave the presentation on this issue. And we asked, and we've asked for direction, Mr. City Manager and Ms. City Attorney, to give us options, to give us the opportunity of options of what policies that we can make so that we can address these issues. We need to address this issue. For far too long, we've been dealing with this problem. And we talked to you, and I can't go into further detail what we discussed in closed session, but what we were able to disclose in public is saying that we want our options of how can we address these issues, not with the basic tools that Alvaro just presented us. They only have limited tools of how they can currently address these trucks. We have other opportunities and alternatives that need to be presented to this council so we could address this, whether we're talking to the plaintiff's attorneys to figure that out, or what the next steps are. There has to be some next steps, because people are very frustrated with these trucks. I understand that there's a need for them, but if you look at the concentration of what has happened, because we've done nothing, we have over 120 of the whatever you want to call them, the
catering.
catering trucks, and then you have the stationary trucks, over 100 plus of those. That has doubled over the years, and that's problematic. And the folks that are in this business, some of them are frustrated as well, right? Because we're not doing anything to the bad people that are really selling drugs. They're selling other things out of these trucks, and then there's others that are really making a living and are trying to do good and trying to sell produce, who I've always been supportive of. But now we have this huge problem, and we're not touching them because we keep on talking about how we have this injunction here, this injunction there, and we just leave the problem alone. We've been on the city council now 8 years, and we still have no resolution. We have to come up with a resolution and deal with this issue head on. It is a problem out there in our community. The quality of life is extremely important to our residents, and we need to address it in a compassionate manner, but also with different options. Because look, we can't continue just to provide us, with what tools we're using now, because it's not working. So thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Tinajero, please.
Yeah, I think we inherited this. We inherited this from the previous council. There was an overreach. There was a very strong overreach by the previous council. It was interesting because when it went to court, all the Latino vendors were on one side and non-Latinos were on the other side. The judge looked at that and said, this isn't a racial issue. And so it was an overreach by the old staff. So in fairness, I have to bring us back and put it back in perspective. We have a city manager who's only been here for just over a year. We have a whole new staff, a whole new infrastructure that we've brought in. So now we are dealing with the issue. So I think what Councilmember Martinez says is justifiable in the sense that we need to do something about it, but I think that in putting it back into perspective, we've only had the staff for just over a year. So I think that we have to be careful, and we have to be very calculating on what is the best course of action to increase the quality of life without creating a prejudgment on all vending trucks. And that's what we have to be careful about. I like data, and until I see data that shows where we have caught people selling drugs or selling things, I need to have data to substantiate that. But I do know is that we do have a problem. We haven't been able to address it, and my belief is we haven't been able to address it because we didn't really have the people in place to address it. And so now we have a new city council, or a new city staff. We have a city manager that last year we told him to focus on budget, because remember that when you came in, they said we're going to go bankrupt in 2 years. Well, that's not happening anymore. So now we have to give you an opportunity to go ahead with your staff and come up with a game plan and give us options. So I think what Councilmember Martinez says is correct. We need options, but we have to keep in mind that we now have the ability to do that. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments?
I think
Yeah,
Mayor,
go ahead, Angie Mesqua.
Thank you, Mayor. I think Mayor Pro Tem articulated it very well. I think, and Councilmember Martinez also, we really do need options. And like Mayor Pro Tem said, data would be very helpful as well, so that we can come to hopefully together find some kind of resolution, because it is a problem that we're dealing with.
Look, we're either going to keep them or we're not, and if we are, we need to know what that direction is. Anaheim is moved with red curbs information, and Alvaro's. Can you please not say what I'm talking about?
Right.
So Anaheim is moving in the direction. We have options to move in that direction. Los Angeles is doing things. San Francisco is doing things. All I'm asking for is for us to give you guys direction, to then bring us the options so that we can make policy decisions, because that's our job, to make policy decisions, for example, on possibly doing red curbs. I'm not trying to say that I want to eliminate them or be like the previous councils. I said I want to be compassionate. But we have options out there that have not been presented, that I've spoken with staff about in our public safety. This is not the first time that this has come before us as a council. We've dealt with this for the past 2 years in public safety. And that's why I'm frustrated, because I've sat there time and time again with our staff from the public safety and the audience, many of them who are here to listen. really speaking on this and saying, give us our options, give us the opportunity to give some direction on the new policies that we want to move forward, if we're going to keep them, or we're going to eliminate them, or we're going to create some positive solutions as it pertains to red curbs, because I think that's one of the major problems, is that they want to be stationary, want to be kept there. There are options. Anaheim is doing it, and so those options should be coming before us.
Councilwoman Martinez, and I agree, but I just don't think that our staff is in that position right now to offer us all the options. Am I correct?
And I just want to comment that we have extensively discussed the legal options, both those at the Public Safety Committee and in closed session. The problem with executing on some of those options are that if you pull that trigger, things unravel on the other side, and we wanted to make sure that we have a coordinated effort. So it isn't that we can't take action on some of those legal options, we just need to make sure that they're well coordinated, because we may have unintended consequences that make this a bigger problem for us.
And you don't want unintended consequences. I don't think anybody's asking that, but I think if there are options where we can understand the consequences and go about it methodically, I think that, I mean, this is something we've been discussing even before the 8 years, way back. So it's not simple, but that's why we're here.
Mr. Mayor, can I?
Yes, please
because
go ahead.
I think what Councilwoman Martinez is stating is valid, and I think what Councilwoman Amezcua and myself are both stating is that we realize. I just wanted to bring it back into perspective, because when I was on the public safety meeting, public safety committee, even before that, we had this discussion. But again, we didn't have the right people in place that I feel confident could execute. We have them now. So I think what Councilmember Martinez would like to know is, can we have some options in the near future, within the next month or so? Is that a possibility? Because it is a very sensitive, the previous decision, the previous city attorney that put us in that position, put us in a real bind. And so we have to figure out how we can work our way through it. So I'm asking the question.
The Mayor and members of City Council, I have been briefed on this issue, and unfortunately there are some legal constraints that have hindered our ability to present options. We wanted this opportunity to get direction from you. The red curb idea is something we can look at, but even that may be impacted by prior legal consideration. So we all know this is an issue. We can present options, but if we don't have the legal ability to exercise those options, because there's court cases, we're just going to come here and then go right back to a court case.
I think what I need to know as a city attorney is, what is the policy direction of the council? I mean, if the policy direction of the council is mobile vending trucks are a problem in our community and we want you to be very aggressive and address them, then we can give you options in addressing them. If the council direction is mobile vending trucks in some situations are a problem and the bad players we need to go after, then those are going to have a different set of options. And so the reason we came here at the work study is to find out from this council, where are you? Because we've heard from the public they're different approaches, right? And so we didn't want to assume what the council thinks. So that's the whole purpose of the work study, is to find out, do you think this is a problem? Is it a priority? We have lots of priorities.
We should hear from others. Councilor Benavides, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I think one of the things that we need to do is, right now we have to a certain degree our hands tied because of the federal court injunction. I think what we need to do is get ourselves out of that so we can even begin to address it. At this point, my understanding is that that's part of the restrictions that we have, and part of the reason why this has been an ongoing conversation for over 8 years. I think a lot has changed too over the last eight plus years. Is there a need? I don't know that the need is as great as it was 8 plus years ago. There are a lot of other resources, whether it be more supermarkets in town, more supermarkets that will provide transportation to and from for people or families who have limited access or limited transportation. The number of vendor trucks, my understanding, has probably declined from where it was 8 plus years ago.
Actually, it's a little more.
Yeah, there are more now.
The numbers that we gave you were from July business license, actually.
Okay. But the reason that it is here, this is even here before us, and why it was under consideration, why there was a policy, attempt at a policy, while there was a policy adoption that was overturned by the court years ago, is because there is they are problematic in a lot of cases. And I welcome you to come to my neighborhood and just hang out there for an hour and just watch the issues with whether it be traffic, pedestrian safety, children being in dangerous situations, the types of products that are made available to our kids. We talk about health, we talk about obesity, we talk about a number of different things. I would imagine that we do have some of the statistics. I've seen a number of things that have illegal situations, illegal things, whether it be guns being stored, drugs being sold out of some of those vendor trucks. So, do we need to approach and look at it from a compassion standpoint? Yes, but at the same time, I want to make sure that it is that we don't overextend and try to be too soft because we think that it is a racial issue. Frankly, had I been given an opportunity, I would have been in court asking pleading with the court to regulate. A number of years ago, that the previous attorney that handled this for us did a poor job, and that's the reason why we ended up having this caught up by the federal injunction. It wasn't argued well. It wasn't presented well. Some of the real issues and concerns, safety issues, concerns, were not presented at that point. At the end of the day, we're back in there's a federal injunction. We need to get out of that. So we have solutions. I'm disappointed by the fact that there isn't anything presented here before us. That's what I thought we were going to do is bring this before council and laying out here's where we are currently. And here are the different options. Council, what direction do you want to take? Ultimately, we do need to get out of the mercy of the court and be able to have options presented to us.
Look, I just want to make sure we don't go in a circular discussion here. Is anybody not spoken that wishes to say anything? Councilman Reyna, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to be brief, but echoing pretty much everyone said, and I try not to repeat what other comments have already been made, but just want to impress how much of a priority this is for us. I agree with the majority of my colleagues. We want to address this. We don't want to be too soft because of the perception of what it looks like, but we really need to address this issue. On the flip end, looking at some of the positives, I'm not sure if I would consider them positives. Sometimes extending credit. I'm not really sure that's a really good thing because I'm sure they're not filling out paperwork and anything else like that. So if that person happens not to be able to pay their bill, I wonder what occurs. This is a major issue. I know we have a list of priorities wherever we could figure out how to address this. There's a lot of complicated moving parts along with this. But you can see the council really wants to address this and put this on a high priority. I would like to look at two options. Both how do we regulate it as an option in whatever course of action that may look like, and if we were to move in the direction of eliminating it and what those options may look like too. I think we need every option on the table on both ends. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a comment, then I'll go to Michelle and Sal. Look, it's easy. And Angie,
I'll
okay.
go after.
I would just warn us in the sense that it's easy in hindsight to judge. And I'll tell you, I was there at the time when we were doing this, and I was trying to stop the entire thing, telling them this was an overreach. And nonetheless, the fervor was so great that it, in essence, backfired. But what I would recommend is, instead of giving direction, give us options. And try to quantify the ramifications of those options, and then I think maybe we can give more informed direction. Otherwise, we're going to go, path A or path B or path C, and we don't really understand where we may end up. And I'd like to understand when we may up, because that's how we got in this mess in the first place. And if we go with the same approach, i.e., we want this and it's our direction, we can end up in another mess. And so if it takes a little more time, I know it's a legal quagmire, let's just bring it back. Let's stay on top of it. Let staff come up with path A, path B, path C, and then we can figure out where we're going. Councilor Martinez, please.
Yeah, Mayor, no, I certainly agree with you, and what I was expecting here today when we asked to bring this back was, one, to provide the council options. That was what we were asking for. When we were in closed session, we discussed this. We gave direction to go and speak to the plaintiff's attorneys, and I'm not sure if you guys don't recall that, but we gave explicit direction for that. Nothing has been brought back to us. That was on one end. And then when Karen gave the presentation out here, we then as well talked about how we wanted options to see what is it we can do to regulate or to keep some of them here in business. Because again, what we don't want to do is just go gun-ho and say we're going to get rid of all of you because you're all a nuisance. That's far from the truth. We have to have, look, and when I mean about compassion, I mean it more from a business sense that look, some of these folks, they have businesses. It is a business of theirs. And what put us in the first place with all these problems was that we didn't take that, the previous councils did not take that into consideration. If there wasn't a need for them, they wouldn't be here in the city of Santa Ana. There is a need, but there isn't a need of over-concentration of what we have here today.
It could be like liquor licenses.
And I will tell you that the over-concentration is killing some of the good stewards who have these trucks. And so what we need to do is one deal with the issues with the attorneys on the injunction side and try to figure out what is it that we can do, looking at options like the red curbs and other things that other cities are doing to give our staff the tools to regulate. And then the second part is really finding out what are the next steps for the city of Santa Ana? What is it that we want to do? One, do we want to make it legal for them? Do we want to make sure that we are charging them more than their current fees? Right now, I think it's only $165 that they pay for a business license when we have other businesses paying a lot more than that. And is that fair? So, right, these are all the things that I'm saying that we should be looking at and that they're policy decisions. Because if we do decide to say we want to keep them because there is a need in our community, then we can have that discussion. But there also possibly be a discussion from a law enforcement perspective where we need to bring them into the table and say, how can we then, if we do decide to say, look, hey, we want to get rid of these bad actors because they're doing A, B, or C, then we then need to use the enforcement tools, not only from code enforcement, but from the police department as well. But we need to know what our options are, and then, yes, make good quality decisions. But we cannot make good quality decisions without having alternatives. And alternatives have not been provided to us, and that's all I'm seeking. Thank you.
And what I suggest is let's maybe wrap this up because we're starting to have a circular discussion, but maybe staff can do a matrix, and maybe you can come back not only with options, but we can pick and choose. In other words, like you want to increase the fees and you want to do this on red curves, and then maybe we'll make our own new path or new set of circumstances.
Mr. Mayor,
yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
If we wrap it here real quick.
Yeah.
Madam City Attorney and Mr. City Manager and my brother in court enforcement. Here's what I would like to hear back from is we have vending trucks that are operating near businesses that are restaurants. And so that's hurting businesses who pay a higher fee for their business license, and yet we have those there. So I'd like to take a look at maybe something we could do about that. We have an issue here with obesity in our city, yet we do have some mobile trucks they park after school within the school area, and what they sell is unhealthy food. I want to see what our legal choice options are there. We also have an issue where some trucks are parking near grocery stores, and then their customers are using the grocery store parking lot there as well. So I'd like to take a look at that. I'd like to see if we could place a moratorium on any new licenses for mobile vending trucks in the city of Santa Ana until we make a decision on where we're going to go. And then that way we can put a cap on it as we are assessing our situation. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, and what I would suggest is as council members have more ideas or more input, just get it to staff.
That's fine.
Okay? So with that,
I was
please
actually
go ahead.
just going to say that about how long are we looking at bringing it back, timeline-wise? About how
a
long
month,
would it
2
take?
months, something? It's Christmas, remember, and you're going to have New Year's.
February? February?
Yeah, I think February.
Fair.
Councilor Benavides, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one last request is if we could look at what the previous policy that was approved by council and any feedback from staff on that, just to have some
maybe a memo as to context.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, Madam Clerk, I was outside for a moment. Did we do the Housing Authority meeting? Okay, let me convene that right now. And I'll entertain a motion on consent calendar items 1 through 3. We have a motion and a second by Benavides. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Any comments? Seeing none, I will adjourn. Let's bring it back, and I have 2 public comment speakers. Oscar Aguirre, are you here, sir? Please come on forward if you are. And if you're not, Michael, are you still here? You want to speak again? All right, go ahead. Just talk about something other than electric cars, please.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm kidding. You can talk about anything you want. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, Honorable Council, Michael Klubnikin. Show me a liar and I'll show you a thief. And you give a thief enough rope and he's going to hang himself. And with those 2 things framing what I have to say, I stood up here and I said, not you, but the county of Orange has a problem with the courts. You guys were talking about an overreach. You guys talked quite a half hour or so. Well, I'm here to tell you, the public guard overreached. The DEA overreached on Elia. They get you in the blanking court, and then you got to, bury you with these petitions. And it's not going to end well because something's going to give, the thing. You can't a government official can't just come into your home without consent of, a court order or exigent circumstances. No, that's not true. They'll just make it up. Does anybody think that Elia harmed his kid? The guy would take a bullet for his kid, and yet he's appearing in court. A conservator, the people that put him in a hospital 12 times, now 14 I think, he's got to go there with no attorney and beg the judge, gee, many Willikers, they kidnapped my kid, put him in a hospital. Hello, I'm his loving father, the loving wife, the son. It's a no-brainer. Oh no, he's going to have a stack of reports by the caseworker. In my case, I'm going to stand before the judge. And I'm going to stand. I sent my mom on 2 cruises, all expense to the Bahamas. I sold my 3 rental properties and then sold my house to care for my parents. But the Crown of Orange says, oh, you financially abused your mother. See, they've got this, here I come to save the day, Mighty Mouse. That's not Andy Kaufman. That's Orange County Board of Supervisors. They use their attorneys to think, oh, we've got to step in. No. You got to step out. We don't need you in our stinking lives. We don't want these caseworkers in our lives. Look at Elia. He shouldn't be here. He's begging. He's going to have something to say. He should be home with his wife, his kid. No, he's forced in a court. I've been living in a court. And I'll be honest with you. I can't wait to get back in court. I encourage you to come to the court December 16th and see what happens. Me versus these knuckleheads that have stole the estate, looted it from $2 million down to $1 million, and then they want to be conservators so they can sell the 3rd house. Now the latest thing is I'm not feeding my mom. My mom is healthier than any one of you because of me. I just give her fruits and vegetables and God's food, bee pollen and outside vinegar, certain things. That's why she's alive. I keep her away from drugs. And I would say to anybody, if you got a senior for a parent, hide. Don't admit you got a senior. Don't go to these senior summits, by the way. But pretend like, put a mustache and a beard on, because you got a bullseye on your back if you're a senior or an autistic kid. They're making money on you.
Thank you, Michael. Council comment. Councilor Martinez, you weren't here last time. May we start with you?
Thank you, Mayor. I actually was via telephone, but I decided not to make any comments. It was midnight and I needed to go to bed. But I'm here to make comments here today, and I want to start off that when we do have study sessions, that's what study sessions are about. It's about dialogue with the council up here. We rarely, because we can't violate the Brown Act, that we're supposed to have this kind of open dialogue, and it should be more than 30 minutes or an hour. These are serious policy issues that we need to address as a full body. And so because, we rarely give direction or don't have the opportunity to give direction in study sessions, doesn't mean that we shouldn't have this kind of dialogue. It's important for all of us on the council because we don't all get to sit on council committees, and when we are addressing these issues in council committees and bringing them forward to the council for a full discussion to set good policy, it's important that we make good quality decisions to set good informed policy. That is our role as council members and our responsibility. So I just want to make note of that and share that with all of you. Secondly, on a positive note, I really want to thank the community. And I want to thank the community. I didn't have the opportunity to thank them at the last council meeting, but we had a Complete Streets workshop in the downtown. There were a lot of folks that participated, that really got engaged and involved. And I want to thank the youth and the residents and the business community that showed up to that 3-day workshop. That wasn't easy to do. I want to thank our staff and the consultants because I think a lot. I didn't participate because I didn't want to be there. It wasn't the appropriate time to be there. I think it was important for the consultants and the staff to interact with the community. But I wish I was there because of the dialogue that was being had and the great ideas that were being exchanged by young people, residents, and businesses of how we can improve the mobility in the downtown. So it's an exciting time for us in the downtown as we move forward. A lot of great things happening. I know this Saturday we're having the second annual Navidena. I think I'm saying it correctly, Mr. Moet, but it is happening this Saturday. I want to say a week from this Saturday. It's called Navidena. Navidena, we're having a lot of festivities. We recently did the tree lighting, and that was fantastic news. And I also want to thank our Parks and Rec Director, Moet, and his staff. We just opened our newest exercise park at Memorial Park, and I want to thank Councilman Benavides for being present on behalf of the council. We're keeping our promise to making sure that we provide outdoor activities and exercise for the community. So thank you, Councilman Benavides, for showing up at Memorial Park for the opening of the exercise park. And then, it is kind of bittersweet. Karen Halusa, I truly want to thank you for your commitment and dedication to the city of Santa Ana for 10 plus years, and also stepping in as our acting planning director for the past year plus. You're off to some new endeavors in your career, off to Fullerton, and they're very fortunate to have you. It's been a blessing to have worked with you, Karen. Your ideas, the innovation that you brought, and your dedication to the city of Santa Ana. We may not have always agreed on everything, but that's okay because we shouldn't. But your work in wanting to make sure that we have a healthy community, having health in all policies, making sure there's community engagement. Your leadership was at the top and moving us in that direction, and that's something that I will never forget, and I don't think our community will. So I just want to thank you for your dedication and your service here in the city of Santa Ana, and just give you a round of applause for your dedication in the city of Santa Ana. And I just want to conclude by the moratorium that Councilman Tinajero mentioned in regards to these vending trucks. And I think what he meant is for new. I know we have a lot of folks that are applying right now that are trying to get these licenses. And Alvaro's nodding his head yes. And so I think that's what we need the moratorium on, is to address that issue firsthand before we start making some policy decisions as we move forward with everything as a whole. And with that being said, have a great evening.
Thank you. Let's go to the left, please.
Thank you,
Councilmember
Mayor.
Mezcua.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. Recently, President Obama proposed $263 million for funding for police body cameras. And I just want to make sure our city manager contacts Holland and Knight so that we can find out what's going on, make sure we get in on this. It's a great thing, I think. So if we can look into that, we would greatly appreciate it. And another thing is, as we all know, there's a big problem with illegal fireworks here in our city. I attended the Park Santiago Neighborhood Association meeting about a month ago, and I do want to ask our city attorney if we can draft an ordinance to mitigate, a mitigation ordinance, because if minors are caught with illegal fireworks, we need to make sure that the parents are accountable for what's going on. And if we can also bring maybe like a study session so that people are aware of what the fines are and what the process is. I think the first time you get caught, it's a $250 fine. The second time, it's a $500 fine, and eventually it goes up to $1,000. So I think it's important to let our community know that there are fines out there for the use of illegal fireworks, and we just need to, have a brief study session on that.
Thank you. Councilman Reyna, please.
Like always, we had a great rainstorm. I hope some people were driving safely. I didn't necessarily see that on the road. But we definitely needed the rain. We do live in the desert, so please conserve it as much as you possibly can. Definitely appreciate that. I'm glad today that one of the opportunities we had was our colleagues recognized our veterans, and very, very rightfully so. We don't do enough for our veterans. All of our abilities to say yes or to say no, if anything we want in this country, is really given because of the veteran sacrifice. And in saying so, I just want to remind everybody that on the third Thursday of every month, we're starting a flag raising ceremony. We've had 2 underneath our belts thus far. Please come and participate. Please show your respect and your gratitude to our veterans. We greatly appreciate it.
Connie, don't go. You're going to speak still.
Also, had an opportunity to participate and my Brother's Keepers meeting over at Delhi. Councilman David Benavides was there as well. There's a great support from our faith base, our nonprofit, our school district, and some of our local companies, businesses. So it's great to see all the synergy that are there. Looking forward to great things coming out of that and really having a sustained impact on our young people's lives to do so. Also, Karen, didn't get a lot of opportunity to interact and work with you. We've had several of our one-on-one meetings, a little bit here at the office, a couple times out in the fields, and definitely appreciate you sharing all the information and knowledge you have. That institutional memory is invaluable, and unfortunately, we're going to miss that. I personally am going to miss it because I bounce all kinds of ideas or questions. Can we do this? What about that? And I thank you for your patience with me, if nothing else. And I wish you all the best of luck as you continue to move forward.
Sorry, go ahead.
Also, I don't know how many of you, I worked with kids for a long time, but I don't know how many girl championship boxing rings that we have. But this young lady, April, was absolutely phenomenal. I told her I wanted to see one of her next bouts coming up. I think it is absolutely phenomenal for her to participate in a sport like that. Definitely want to kind of piggyback on Councilman Amezcua when we're talking about cameras for our law enforcement. It's really easy for someone to take a snapshot picture or 2 or 3 second videotape. And today's technology, everybody has it. And then they're able to say a story that may not be factual. And I think one of the ways that we truly need to support and protect our law enforcement is to capture the entire story. Prevent any false allegations that are going to be coming against them, any potential future litigation against the city that would save us money is something I think that we definitely need to be proactive on. I'd like to send this conversation to the Public Safety Committee so that we can have a discussion and figure out what's the best course of action moving on that. Definitely want to tap into that grant that is coming down the pipe to do so. Christmas is coming up. Like always, shop in Santa Ana. Thanks very much.
Mayor,
thank you.
Just real quick, if I may, I do want to take an opportunity to wish Karen well in all her future endeavors, and I just want to let you know that it's been a real privilege to work with you, even if it has only been for 2 years. So I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Connie, before we continue, come on up. I missed you earlier somehow, so please tell us what you got to tell us.
Yeah, I thought you forgot about me, and I have some important information for Santa Ana, actually. I found out today that from the OC Register of Voters that the special election for District 1 OC Supervisor is going to be January 27th. And this is so important because I think we've all noticed how important the District 1 OC supervisor is through the homeless shelter situation, regardless of the side that you were on for it or against it. The supervisor held a lot of power in that situation, and then back then it was Councilman Sal Tinajera. Him and I had to go in front of Janet Wynn one time, groveling a little bit. We didn't get our way. But, I mean, the supervisor, they hold a lot of influence over Santa Ana for District 1. So, anyway, this election is important. As of today, nobody had filed for candidates, and they can file through December 15th. I've heard rumors that different candidates are going to run, and I think there's at least 3 of them. And Connect to Council, of course, we've tried very hard to bring the information to the residents and the voters, and we plan on doing something for the OC Supervisor, District 1, to bring the information to the voters, because we've got to get to know these candidates. I think we really know a couple of them, but they have to be heard. We have to know what's going on with them. So we're working behind the scenes on that, and we'll keep you posted. Anyway, so that special election, January 27th, I don't have any information as far as absentee voting. I think that'll probably be the popular way to do this one, but I'll try to keep you posted on that. Anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know, because that is an important election, just like they're all important. But OC Supervisor District 1 is going to be important to Santa Ana. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor David Benavides, please.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items here. One of the items that we approved earlier today, I just wanted to make comment on it. It's 25C and give a little bit of feedback here to our Public Works Director. That's a Fairview Bridge. I know we're going to be going through a process of planning and potential design there for that bridge. And one of the things that we can look at some of these public works projects as purely functional, widening and providing sidewalk, but we also it's going to be something that will be stay there for many, many, many years going forward. There are also instances where we can take some of these facilities or improvements and bring some type of architectural aesthetic improvements to the area, something that would be a landmark, something that can go beyond when we did the beyond just the purely functional. So I just want to encourage you to think that way, look at the design components, look at that area and history even. I know when we did the the First Street Bridge overpass, there were some elements of design there. When we did the one over by Jack Fisher Park as well, we looked at the historic bridge that was there previously and the design of the new one. Some of those elements were incorporated, some lighting fixtures as well, so landscape as well. So I just want to make sure that we not miss that opportunity. A couple of other things that I did have an opportunity to be a part of that conference or the information presentation on My Brother's Keeper, and this is a national initiative by the Obama administration. Had an opportunity to meet with the White House on a trip we took a couple of months back, where wanted to make sure that was one of the items on the agenda. Essentially, it's resources to support our young men of color. We have, as we heard earlier, one of the youngest cities in the nation. We need programs to support our young people, particularly our young men, to ensure that they're strong leaders and that they have all resources available to them to be those that forge just a positive path forward for the next generation coming up. So look forward to continuing to be a part of that national initiative, and for the city of Santa Ana to be a leader in that at national level, and encourage the faith-based community and nonprofits to continue to be a part of that, and for us to disseminate as much information and incorporate and pull as many people into that discussion as possible. We are, Christmas holidays is upon us, and it's just an exciting time. I want to thank our city management for, if you look down 4th Street, I was down there with my kids just a few nights ago, and they were really excited to see just the decorations, the lights up, and so kudos to our staff there, downtown liaison, city manager, our team for bringing that back, and just that festive environment. The Parks, Recreation, Community Services department, agency had our first time ever our Christmas tree lighting. Had an opportunity to be there for that with Councilman Reyna. And just a wonderful time. Again, when I was down there a couple days ago, there's families taking pictures in front of the tree. And if you haven't had an opportunity to go down there, 4th and French, you won't want to miss it. It's just a nice time. There next Tuesday is we're having a special meeting. Just want to invite members of the community to come back out here to the City Council chambers for the installation of the mayor and council. That ceremony will be taking place at 6 p.m., I believe, and then we'll have a small reception afterward at Bowers Museums. Just something that should be that the whole community should feel welcome to be a part of that. And lastly, I do want to thank and join the rest of my colleagues here on the council in thanking you, Karen, for your decade of service to our community. You've contributed a lot. A lot of projects have throughout the city have your handprint on those. And one of the things I've always appreciated is just your and something that's important to me is ensuring that there is always a high quality standard to projects, from design elements, everything from materials used, colors, landscape, architecture. And that's a lot. You've been contributed to a lot of that, and definitely appreciate your service, your contribution, your dedication to our city, and just wish you well in your efforts and your endeavors professionally here going forward. Thank you very much, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all.
Thank you for those comments. Mayor Pro Tem Celtina Hedl, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, thank you, Karen, for all your work. What I really appreciate about Karen and what we really appreciate from employees is when they take their job seriously and they take it personal, and they take it, to a personal level. And I've always believed, Karen, that while you were serving in the city, you treated it as your own. And so I really do appreciate that. That was never something that I overlooked. That's something that I've always given you credit for, and I give you credit again publicly. I think Fullerton, the city of Fullerton is grabbing an all-star here. And so I congratulate you for that, and I thank you for your hard work. I do want to say, Councilmember Amezcua and myself were at the White House, working at the White House last week. I believe it was last week. It seems
Thank
like,
you for reminding me. I completely forgot to disclose it.
It was it's probably one of the best conferences that I've worked with other leaders, because it was leaders from cities that were similar to ours, or cities that were having some serious issues. And you know what the nice thing about that was, is the ideas that we were able to bring to the forefront and the ideas that they were able to give to us. I have been an elected here for 8 years for the city council, but I was also an elected for 6 years at the school board, and I came back so energized after seeing what other people have done, and also what we were able to contribute to other people there that they didn't know they could do. And so it was just a great experience. I just wanted to say that we're going to be talking to the city manager about some of those items that we discussed. When I was at the school district, we built schools. I think we built about 6 schools. We had some permanent portable to permanent structures as well. And something that I think is important for the history of our city as we do these improvements is that the people that sat there, that did the heavy lifting, there's something that has their name on it. And at the schools, if you go, there's always a plaque that has who the school board was, who the superintendent was, and so forth during that time. And I think it's good for us to reflect and to have that history. This council has done some pretty heavy lifting, and I don't think we've ever really pushed to make sure that those capital improvements that we've worked on, the credit is given to the council that was there. We're the first council that has been together that is going to be together for 12 years. So there's a lot of work, a lot of heavy lifting. So I just want to ask staff if we can go ahead and start doing that for those items that we've been able to put together. Finally, I just want to congratulate all of the people that were given awards tonight, especially our Santa Ana Pop Warner cheerleaders, who are going to tumble their way, hopefully, to a national title. And they were out here. They're very confident. They were so impressed with Councilmember Roman Reina when he did that back handspring. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I still, I'm still figuring out if they had like a springboard under the grass or something to help them get there. But
What did they tell you?
they giggled. They just said that they didn't think you were going to do it, and all of a sudden you did it, and they all kind of fell backwards. I said, well, did he inspire you to realize that you can reach new heights? And they kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? Anyways, But it was a great time. So thank you very much, and congratulations, and I wish you the best.
Mayor, very quickly.
Yes, go
I just want
ahead.
to state for the record, because I know Councilman Tinajero stated and Ms. Amezcua that they went to Washington, D.C. I, too, was in Washington, D.C., but no money was spent from the city of Santa Ana. 100% was paid by the organization, and all my transportation costs were paid by me personally. So I just want to make that clear, because I know folks understand that I was in Washington, D.C., but I wasn't on city business. I was on a board business, and I was also participating as a mentor to 30 newly elected officials from across the United States. So I just wanted to make that very clear.
Thank you for that. Normally, earlier today, we normally have, 5, 10, 15, 20-year employee recognitions. I know that today is not a special date for Karen in that sense, but it is special in the other sense that you're shortly going to be leaving us. So what I'd like to suggest is, why don't you come on up? I want to invite council members that wish to do so, and let's take a photo. And before we do that, because after the photo we'll adjourn, I just want to tell folks that 3 weeks ago, Mayor Pro Tem Sal Tinajero was inducted into the International Teachers Hall of Fame. And I think, I think give him an applause. I think it's not only what he does as a teacher, he really connects with students, but this whole, debate, team and theme and excellence, and what he's been able to do, that I think has been a big factor as to why he got that recognition. So, Madam Clerk, the meeting is still open. We're going to take the photo with Karen. Hopefully, Tanya's got the camera, and then after that, we will adjourn at that moment. Gather around you. Some on this side.
No one wants to be next to you, Mayor. Just so they know that we like each other. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Hold on, without the glasses. Because there's always reflection on glasses. Congratulations. Everybody was all
And it's a great city. You'll do well. I know it very well. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. It's a great city. It's a great city.